Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. This is your brother Lawrence. Today I have a sad news to share with you. This is very sad. The SDA pastor who was arrested last year is now going to be sentenced this year in March. And friends, if you have forgotten, let me share with you why this pastor was arrested last year in 2025. Let's watch this.
Also this evening, a Canton pastor is out of jail this evening, denying charges that he sexually assaulted a teenage girl at a campground. Annabelle Childers has the latest on the investigation.
September 18th, a 13-year-old girl called 911 from a bathroom at the River Run campground in Loudonville. She told the operator she was tent camping with a family member, 59-year-old Jesse Santos, when he touched her inappropriately and also forced her to touch him. The girl said Santos told her someone would kill both of them if she shared what happened.
No, you're okay. You just stay right there, okay?
Throughout a 34-minute 911 call, the teen tells the operator she's scared and asks how long it will take until deputies arrive. As she waits, the operator asks whether alcohol or drugs were involved. The teen replies no, saying Santos is a pastor.
Oh, he's a pastor?
When deputies got to the River Run campground, they took the teen to the hospital for an examination and then her home. After an investigation by the sheriff's office, Santos was indicted by a grand jury and a warrant was issued for his arrest February 14th. This is footage from the 25th of Santos preparing for a video arraignment.
You got anything in your pockets? So put me, stick me, stab me.
Can you just leave it with my wife?
Yep, you can leave it with your wife.
Santos is facing 4 charges: first-degree kidnapping, gross sexual imposition, misdemeanor sexual imposition, and endangering children. A judge set his bond at $250,000. Jesse Santos is listed as a pastor on the Canton Seventh-day Adventist website. The Ohio Conference of Seventh-day Adventists issued a release saying they learned one of their employees was arrested. They wrote in part, "We take this matter extremely seriously and are working closely with local police to address the situation." They say they've placed Santos on administrative leave. Santos is pleading not guilty. His next court hearing is scheduled for April 18th. And as of now, a jury trial is scheduled for May 20th.
So that was Pastor Santos, who was also within the Ohio Conference, and I think he pastored Canton SDA Church. And at first the pastor pleaded not guilty. At first, when he was arrested and was being interrogated, he pleaded not guilty. But now, according to 19 News, he is pleading guilty, or he has pleaded guilty, and so he will be sentenced. According to 19 News, a local news channel in the US, he will be sentenced in March. This is a sad news, very sad. And so I would say that we need to keep the pastor and his victim in prayers. Yes, we need to keep the pastor and his victim in prayers, and not only this pastor but all SDA pastors, because friends, when some of these things happen, it does not only affect the pastor, it does not only affect his family, it also affects the church. So I just want to leave this particular news and share with you a sermon that was preached by Pastor Professor Walter White. But before we watch the sermon, those that would like to purchase African print, beautiful African clothes like what you see behind me, you can join my WhatsApp group. I have placed a link right in the description and also in the chat. So if you are interested in beautiful African made clothes for male and female, join my WhatsApp group. All right, this is very beautiful, the one at the back there. All right, so friends, let's get into the sermon and listen to Professor Walter White.
What nation would arise in an area where there were no political, territorial organizations and structures and kingdoms that would be a Christian nation with lamb-like principles that eventually could become so powerful as to dictate even to the world? There's only one that qualifies. So let's have a look at it. The rise of the United States. 1776, the Declaration of Independence. You're not a nation yet. 1783, the most of the world acknowledges the declaration, except the superpower of Europe, which was France at the time. They didn't acknowledge it yet. 1787, a constitution was framed. You're not really a beast if you don't have a constitution, a territory, and a ruler. 1791, the Bill of Rights was added. 1798, bang on target, recognition by France. Now here's an irony. Which beast gave the first beast its mortal wound? France. France. And France recognizes the independence of the second beast, bang on target in the same year. Very interesting. 1863, Slave Emancipation Act, lamb-like principle, because Jesus also came to set the captives free. He spoke like a dragon. Now that's scary. How does a dragon speak? Well, if you want to know how the dragon speaks, you just ask the first beast to please open its mouth. Because the Bible says the dragon gave him his what? His seat, his power, his authority, and he must have reflected the mindset of the dragon. So let's ask the first beast to tell us how a dragon speaks. This is the syllabus of Pope Pius IX, and he says the state has not the right to leave every man free to embrace whatever religion he shall deem true. The church has the right to require that the Catholic religion shall be the religion of the state to the exclusion of all others, and cursed be those who assert liberty of conscience and of worship, and such that maintain that the church may not employ force. Ooh, sounds like a dragon. Now I want you to think about that, because the second beast, that is lamb-like, speaks like a dragon. This is dragon language. Could the United States actually become prescriptive in terms of your religious viewpoints? Is there such a possibility? Here's another one, La Sofilta Cattolica. By the way, that's the official Jesuit publication. The Roman Catholic Church must demand the right to freedom for herself alone. The Roman Catholic is to wield his vote for the purpose of securing Catholic ascendancy in this country, talking about the state. There you have some examples of dragon language. And it, the second beast, exercises all the authority of the first beast before him. That's also scary. The first beast was very prescriptive. Everybody had to bow down. If you didn't, you were punished as a heretic. You were put to death. Now this beast will exercise, the second one, all the authority of the first beast before him, and cause the earth and those dwelling in it to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. Revelation 13:12. In other words, the second beast will enforce the mindset of the first beast, which is Rome, on everybody. You're either with us or you're not with us. All right, so the second beast will enforce the mindset and the norms and the rules of the first beast. And it does great wonders, so that it makes fire come down from heaven onto the earth in the sight of men, and it deceives those dwelling on the earth because of the miracles which were given to do before the beast, saying to those dwelling on the earth that they should make an image to the beast who had the wound by the sword and live. Now that's a whole 50,000 sermons in one verse. Some people say, all right, the United States, it's a highly powerful military power, fire from heaven, that must be bombs and atomic bombs and all of that. No. It cannot be that. Nobody will ever be deceived by an atomic bomb. You'll just be blown to smithereens. Do you agree with me? All right, so this must be a symbol. It makes fire come down from heaven onto the earth, and it deceives. So this fire from where? From heaven deceives people. And how is this deception enforced? By miracles. Miracles. What kind of religion emanates from the United States of America if you switch on your television? And when you watch their mega evangelists come to this country and draw stadiums full of people, don't you have miracles and healing services and all of these things and driving out demons and people miraculously, supposedly being healed, and give me $1,000 and you will be a multimillionaire in 10 minutes? And people are so silly, they give the man the money. Isn't this the kind of religion that is being sold to the world today? An experiential experience with God that is poured out upon people irrespective of whether they are followers of God or not. This is a deception. Now, what is fire from heaven? We'll come to that in a second. And then it is a situation where they must make an image to the first beast. Now, what's an image? An image is something that looks like the original. So when I stand in front of a mirror, what do I see of myself? I see an image. All right, what was the first beast like? So if I want to make an image, what must the second one be like? The first one was a politico-religious system combined which enforced its view upon the populace. Church and state working in harmony to enforce the mindset and the doctrines. That was the operation structure of the first beast. So when somebody was accused of heresy, the church accused him of heresy and handed him over to whom? To the state. The church never killed anyone. The church handed him over to the state, and the state executed the person. They would torture, yes, they would do all of those things to get an acknowledgement of heresy, but once that sentence was passed, the state did the rest. So here we're going to have a system that is built on the same principles as the first one, and that will be an image. Now, isn't it fascinating that church and state are separated in the United States by the Constitution? That's a lamb-like principle. Render unto Caesar what is due unto Caesar, and unto God what is due unto God. That's lamb-like principle. Jesus said that, didn't he? But not these people. They say, we're going to combine the two. And that limits freedom of conscience. Then you are no longer free to choose, because then your conscience is legislated. Now let's get through with this. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. So this is not just some ordinary power. He's got some clout. So he'll have what kind of clout? Political clout, military clout, economic clout. Why do you think the dollar is so strong again? And why do you think that the oil price is just tumbling like crazy? So that every single nation will be subject to that power. Because the United States has more oil than any of the other nations all put together. All put together. Most of the oil wells are capped, but the new technology makes it capable, makes it just unbelievable, the amount of oil that they have. And caused that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Now, you can only worship the image of the beast if you believe that this is the right thing to do and you follow cognitively. Now, it's just, by the way, interesting. Here's Ciao Americano. It's an Italian magazine in the United States, an independent news magazine for Italian Americans. Sister cities in 2011, Washington, D.C. and Rome signed a concordat and they became sister cities. It's interesting also that the architecture of the two cities is very similar, but it was noted that perhaps the similarities were not accidental but deliberate. So the detail is just so amazing, not just in political structure, but actually physically. The one is an image of the other. Isn't that interesting? So if you look at the architecture, the Capitol is schooled on the Vatican. It's the same architectural style. So the union of church and state would bring about an image. Now in the United States, you have this euphoria, or this supposed democratic system, where you have the Democrats and you have the Republicans as the main two opposing parties. I have news for you. They both sit at the feet of the Knight of Malta and get their marching orders from there. So whether you are the president or whether you are the candidate for the other party, you sit at the same table. You sit at the same table.
Thanks for watching, friends. See you again with another update. May God bless you.